And we're back on Mimas. Today we're going to pull the old furnace out of there and put in the advanced furnace. It's a good thing we went through all the trouble of setting up the regular furnace, because some of this is going to get torn down. But it did serve its purpose. We got those alloys. That was of very large benefit. Now I printed the electronic parts on mistake. I meant to do that on stream because we hadn't done that before. I'm going to need what's called a volume pump. I rearranged the cabling, so now we have heavy power cables going around and transformers to distribute that power. You'll see even that one. I had said that I was going to do that eventually, but eventually is now. All right, save that for later. We're gonna paint these insulated tanks. I made 4 more of them because we're gonna put a big tank in. I hadn't detailed kind of what's going on with that yet, but that's because it's big and complicated. No point in talking about it till it's time. Check my notes to make sure I don't forget anything here. Yeah, okay. So our first goal is to get this tank set up. For that, I may as well equip the mining belt because I think there's some resources under here. Now the big tank variant is pretty large, so we gotta dig a fairly sizable trench. Don't know if you've noticed by now, but sometimes I need to kind of back up my words and try and articulate them better. Okay, I think we've got enough depth, but I want to dig out a little bit because it'll take an approximately 2 blocks wide space. I'm going to dig a little bit extra around it just so we have some wiggle room. And since we're digging this, I don't like to leave bits of terrain in those blocks. I don't mind if it's on the floor, but since these are going to be suspended, I'd like to get the dirt nuggets out of there. Get one more little node to take care of there. Okay, that's probably close enough. Let's take a look. So yeah, use the scroll wheel to change to the large variant. And I'm actually going to flip it upside down and then rotate it so that the pipe comes out this way. We're going to center it right there. And we're going to go ahead here and equip it up with the rest. Our goal is to drain the pipe network up here. Get it all merged into the tank. And I'm sure you're probably wondering, well, hey, how about the gas that's, going to be trapped in there because it's just going to do a gas exchange? And I can kind of show you here. You'll see that it's ticking up. The ticking up in the pipe network is from the furnace, and then the ticking here, which is going to be really hard to see because now it's so minor of a change. Okay, it looks like it's pretty much balanced out. But yeah, there's two exchanges, one from the furnace to the pipe network, and then from the pipe network to the insulated tank. Now is a good time to mention as well, be careful when you're removing a tank, an insulated tank, or well, even a non-insulated tank, um, because any air that's trapped in there when you use the drill to remove it will get deleted from the world. If you remove a pipe like I just did there, um, actually we don't need to have that high. When you remove a pipe, it pushes the gas into the rest of the network. That's how I've moved some stuff around here and there. But yes, pipes or tanks are different. If you remove a tank, it doesn't push the gas somewhere else. It will just remove it. Now we need to get the rest out of there, or not necessarily all of it, but a good portion of it, because as soon as we remove that furnace, it's going to act the same as I mentioned with the tank, and it's going to delete anything that's inside. Let's see how our power's doing. Okay, power's still all right here, but let's go ahead and run a bit in. Good time to point out, you can see now since we put that tank in there, there's a much higher capacity, which means the pressure has gone down. So when I cycle it in here, we're dealing with a much lower volume, and it's going to cool down quicker and not provide us as much power. We'll deal with that situation in the future. That's pretty much already spent, so I'm going to go ahead and vent it. If I leave stuff in here, it risks the chance of actually freezing in the pipe and breaking it. That actually happened off screen once, and I fixed it up. I didn't feel like recording an episode just to point that out. Okay, so we're gonna switch off a couple of things here because we don't need them on at the moment. We don't need that one or that one since we're having power problems. Okay, we're gonna turn that on. That's gonna power the main thing is we want to power this pump back here. We want to turn it up as high as we can. You'll see it's decreasing on the input end and increasing on the output end very slowly, but you can see these numbers down here change a little more. Oh, the pressure did tick up one. Yes, the big tanks are very, very big. Checking notes again, sorry. So we're going to print insulated pipe utility gas. The note about gas on the end is to tell you that it's a gas variant. There they are. We can go ahead and switch those off to conserve power. Now, one potential issue that we're going to have here is we're going to possibly be dealing with much higher pressures now in the hot box, because the old furnace we didn't need too much. Pretty much all the alloys we could get with relatively low temperatures that would get us by, but now we want to make sure that this system doesn't explode. Yeah, right now you can see the capacity. It's empty, but the capacity, There's 6 pipes. Each of those is 10. So if you do the math, the utility, the inline tank they're called, is 250 liters of capacity. In part, we're just kind of wasting time waiting for that to go down as much as possible, keep as much of the gas as we can. But this is also stuff that needs to be done, so yeah, we don't need any of those for the new setup here. We're going to grab the memory, drop off the switches, and keep one of the input outputs. Now, if people remember the setup that we have here, we've got those 2 vents, one pulling in the gas and the other pulling out gas to put into the hotbox. And we want to swap them. We want to vent both. We want both of them to be inward vents now. So we're just going to place a logic writer. And this is just so that we can purge the contents inside, so we can open it up. So I do need to do some cabling first, because it doesn't know what it's supposed to communicate to otherwise. It should just be able to put a corner variant right there. Oh, it didn't need to be shaped like that, but it worked. We're going to do cable cleanup later, so I'm not too worried about that. Input is the memory. Output, we wanted no other logic devices. Oh, that's why I was cornering it that way. I need to connect this over here. And we're selecting the outward vent, and we want to change mode. Mode is what controls input and output. Right now we're going to have it on 0, but that won't actually change it, because 0 for active vents is outward. So we haven't changed it yet. We actually want to come over here to the memory and just hit the 1. Now if we come over to here, we knew that it was empty before, and now you can see gas flowing into it. And I remember it was 150 moles or thereabouts. So we know that it finished its job. We'll go ahead and switch that off for now. We're going to need it again later. All right. We're doing a good job on getting that stuff out. But we're just going to call it good at this point. It's filtered out, or it's pumped out enough. And yeah, we have power concerns on that front too. So now we're going to make sure, or we're gonna see if we were successful on getting all that air out. And you can see the pressure stayed 0 and the temperature stayed nil. So obviously nothing came flying out at us. Okay, we'll set these over here for safekeeping. Yeah, you can see both vents are inward. I'm going to change this one back to outward. And we're gonna clip the cables on those just to make sure that they're not functional until we actually need them. Because if I switched this on right now, they'd both activate, and that wouldn't be good. Pull out a whole bunch of these chutes here. Now's a good time to kind of talk about a plan here. I'm not sure which episode is going to come out first. Probably the mining episode, which I haven't recorded yet. As soon as we get something printed off here, or smelted, I'm going to smelt a super alloy. And when I do, I'm going to do some mining, because that super alloy will greatly assist us in in getting the materials we need to make the rest of the super alloys. So I'm going to do a cut later and record the mining episode and then come back here and finish off the super alloys if I have time. I haven't done a full test run of this, so I'm not sure. All right, here, let's get a feel for the size and shape of the advanced furnace. You can see it's a lot larger. The way it kind of pokes out here is a hint. They actually intend for you to put this inside of either a chamber or inside of a frame, and it pokes out a little bit from the wall, so you still have access to the controls on the front. But we gotta rearrange some stuff in here still. Let's set that off to the side again. So we don't need that cable supplying power for the volume pump anymore. There we go. But we are going to have a cable running along here. I'm going to connect a cable to the tank down below. Oh, good. I was worried I'd have to move the advanced furnace again to cut that cable. I think we're gonna what's gone back and forth kind of where I want this cable to run. Because I kind of have two choices. I think this side would be a little cleaner. You can place some cable variants in with a chute. I think you have to place the chute first, and it's very fiddly. You really have to get the alignment of how you're placing it in there perfect. And maybe it's not letting me because I don't have the right orientation. Forgive me here for the fiddly nature of this. Oh, there it was. So I think we're standing right about. Dang it. Maybe if we kind of restrict the places we can place it. There we go. Okay, so you can do straight through on the corner ones, or you can do corners. There we go. And we'll put that so we can merge that in there. We'll clean up those cables later. We're gonna actually do a junction here because this is where the data and power come in for the advanced furnace. Yep, I did it right. Good. Now we're going to change the location of the sensor. We don't want to put it here because the chutes are right there on the advanced furnace. I think right there will work. I should have put that junction in there beforehand, but I didn't. There we go. Now let's deal with the piping. The liquid pipe is on the bottom on the advanced furnace, and I think it comes in a block. So obviously, yeah, we don't want the liquid. We're going to place a corner there, and it's going to connect to, I think that one's the output, gas output. And the top one is the gas input. We're going to connect them both though. And I'll kind of go over how this all works. So it's probably really confusing to have an input and output connected to the same system, but it works. It's great. Trust me. Until I actually show you how good it is. We can remove that, and we're gonna ruin all that work we did of pulling that gas out of that network. No, sarcasm. We mainly did it to get it out of the furnace. I don't know how I made that fly over there, but I'm sure it was me. Okay, I think it's time we can hook this up now. And you can see the connections in the back are all functional. Everything's yellow back here. We don't have the chutes completely connected, but we'll get to it. We have the electronic parts, and we don't need a tool to add those to the advanced furnace. Now I gotta find my steel. There it is. I gotta replace those all with lockers, because sometimes I have to jump to be able to find stuff. And then I think we just finish it off with the screwdriver. Yep. All right, now let's get the chutes all done. I tore down all the chutes over here because I kind of want to rearrange the way it's laid out. I noticed a vulnerability with this stacker. When it was so low to the ground, the stacker could end up picking up items. You know, if I use T to place and the stacker was right here, it could scoop that up and throw it into the furnace, which would then instantly incinerate it and it'd be gone forever. Probably not a tragedy with a chute, but if I printed something really expensive, that would suck. Okay, I think we'll want it kind of like that. Is that going to be... I think we can reach that well enough. Or maybe I should move it down a little bit, because it looks kind of ugly when it's poking into a wall like that. And of course we did the wrong variant now. We need the cable facing out. I don't want to bury it inside the wall. So let me set down that one first. And that one. We're gonna put a junction in there because we want the stacker to merge into the network. We don't want that to be the only way. We want the ability to have a an inlet also. Oof. I wonder if I should maybe reverse tact here. I think that would be a good idea. I should have done more prototyping on this, sorry. So we'll have that one there. And we'll have the inlet be off to the side. All right, over here. Okay. Setting this to 50 would probably work, but let's go ahead and set it to 500 anyway. And in all actuality, setting it that high could help just in case something flies up and tries to get in there, because it'll be stuck in here unless it's a full stack of something. Oh, and of course we didn't actually finish our job over here, because why would we bother doing something like that? Did I grab all of the chutes already? I must have. Let's go ahead and finish this one over here quick. That was just a simple couple. Be easier if I put that one there first. Okay, good. We did have enough chutes. See, I don't need to prototype stuff. What's the worst that could happen? I don't care for having cables sticking out like this, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, let's clean up this cable up here. We're gonna change that just to corner. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything in my notes here. Alright, now we're going to deal with these. They don't have power. That's good. That's intentional. This one's back to outward, but now you can see the external safety's 101. We want a little bit more of a buffer. I'm going to tighten up that buffer though, because in the past I've noticed something strange where if you have a very high temperature and a high pressure in the hot box, a lot of stuff like the chute over here and on this side, they can literally incinerate. Yeah, you'll see them burning inside the chamber, and they'll just disappear. I've seen it with cables and all that also. So yes, we're gonna change the setting on those vents. And thinking about it, we have to have them connected to the cable network. So we're going to turn them off, connect them up, and then change their settings. Okay, so it's off right now, that's fine. Let's start with the inward vent. Logic memory, good. And this is going to be pressure external. So the hot box is like the air, which is external to the pipe network. That's how how they determine internal versus external. Whoops. I was doing minor increments there. I meant to do larger increments. And now I should be doing smaller increments, and I keep switching which one I'm using. There we go. So 120 for the inward vent? No, we want 110 for the I just gotta make sure I'm doing this right. No, 120 for the inward. So let's check the power on everything. This one can stay off. Those two are off, which is good. We don't want to end up venting a bunch of stuff, so switch this on. Nothing exploded, that's good. We can turn this on. Pressure external. Now I'm gonna. I don't think it's took yet. If I look at it, oh, it did. Okay. When you're working with these logic systems, I recommend having it set up and then change the value on the memory last. Because I've noticed sometimes it doesn't always take. And I think it's because of the way they have it set up in the background. I think it performs a little bit better. So we're gonna do. Oh, let's switch it on, and then make the adjustment. So now we're changing the outward vent, and this will basically maintain a pressure of 110, or keep that kind of the minimum, whereas this one maintains the maximum. Go ahead and switch that off. Check my notes again here, and I think we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and switch that on and that on. Not touch that yet. I'll leave the logic and memory up there just in case I need to change it. I shouldn't, but just in case. Hopefully all is working. Oh, I'm going to do a quick save just in case so I can pick that up again here if I need to. And I think we're good to go. Verify that this is off. Okay, yeah. Since it says on, that means turn on. So it's off. Switch that on. We're going to set these back up. We're going to set them to the advanced furnace. They're not as needed because you can kind of get the info right here pretty easily, which is a big advantage. And actually right now we're running low on power, so I will set those up later. Quick rundown on how this works. Oh, by default it was pulling some gas in. So the advanced furnace has built-in volume pumps, basically. If we want to pull gas in, we just change it here. If we want to pull gas out of the furnace, we just change it here. And I like that those actually light up now when they're active. So if we want, let's go ahead and run this. I said that I wanted to do, wanted to print some Inconel. I don't think I specified, but that's what we're going to be printing. That'll help me on the mining episode so we can gather more of the resources for more super alloys. So super alloys are a little tougher to get. The temperature for this one is pretty easy to obtain. The pressure range is a little bit fiddly. We'll try and work with that though. The ingredients though are quite different. Now, in the past when we've had partial quantities like this, you'd get, for this formula, you'd get one whole ingot, but for super alloys, you only get one ingot for 4 materials coming in. So you get a fourth of what you normally would. So this is actually going to be 2 gold, 1 steel, 1 nickel, makes 1 Inconel. We're going to grab these. And yeah, it's weird because we're using one alloy to make another. That's something that the super alloys start. So we're going to pull in a little bit more gas, and that's pulling it in from the pipe network and tank down here. That's why we went through all that trouble, because now we're going to have a very large reserve of hot gases to pull from. We're going to go ahead and just toss these in here. We're going to leave this closed. It works. This functions pretty much the same way as the regular furnace. There we go. So now we just have to pull a whole bunch of gas in because we have to hit a pretty specific pressure range, 23.5, and we're probably not going to get that. I don't think there's enough gas in the tank back here to accommodate that kind of pressure. And even if there was, it would take a long time to reach it. So we're gonna add more. And as you can see, the temperature is holding pretty good, about the 790 range, which means our hot box should be working. So we're probably going to need a lot here, and the advantage in our setup is that even if we overdo it, it it doesn't matter because it's going to be in the pipe network and we can just grab it whenever we need it. So we're gonna put these in the stacker over here and pull the lever. That should put it into the network. Yep, we're running low on water, so my character's starting to take damage, but hopefully you can deal with the heavy breathing here. Actually, let me go over here and I'm gonna switch off game sounds. Since we're in vacuum, everything's pretty quiet anyway. All right, it's having a reaction here. I'm gonna wait, or I'm gonna just watch it. There it is. So it reached the pressure because it's still doing a combustive reaction inside here. You can see that there's oxygen and volatiles. They're still ticking down, which means they're burning. And oh boy, that was too easy. We now have 15 in Canal. Oh right, I'm gonna call the episode here. I mentioned, at least I think I mentioned that I was thinking of picking up here afterwards and doing more super alloys after I do the mining episode, but we're actually over time. I didn't expect that. So I'll call it here. Next episode is the mining episode, which is where you'll see what we're doing with this Inconel, and then afterwards I'll do another episode for super alloys. Okay, well we'll see you next episode.